Happy Friday, Celtics fans. I've got two big things you guys need to know about coming up on Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I'm your girl, Allie Barefoot. That never changes. However, the Celtics roster has seemed to change quite a bit. They signed another Exhibit 10 player. No update on Lonnie Walker just yet, but on the back half of the show, we need to talk in depth about Jordan Walsh because this could actually be a huge game-changing piece for Boston this upcoming year. But before we get into that, I do need to let you guys know they ended up waiving Dimitro from the Boston Celtics preseason squad. He was never on the 15-man roster, but he did play in the preseason. He played in Summer League with the Boston Celtics, but ultimately they did waive Dimitro because they wanted to make way for the new E10 player, which I'm going to get into in just a moment. Just want to give you guys a heads up. As I'm making this video right now, Lonnie Walker is still on the basketball team, but they have until Saturday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern time to make their decision on whether or not they want to keep Lonnie Walker on the team. It's going to be tough. That's an $11 million player, and I just don't know if the Boston Celtics can swing it. But Lonnie Walker also said he is not closed off to playing in Maine for however long he needs to in case they do need to figure out some financial situations before he can come play for the real Boston Celtics. But none of that. We're going to talk about the recent E10 signing because Brad Stevens doesn't sleep. The Celtics are signing Hason Ward to an Exhibit 10 contract per sources. The big man who played high school ball at Central High School in Springfield, Massachusetts, was on Iowa State's Sweet 16 squad last season after starting his college career back in my hometown of Richmond, Virginia at VCU. And really, you're just looking at a grade A big dude. 6'9", can probably play that power forward center position, obviously playing at Iowa State in VCU. 230 pounds, this guy is pretty thick. This guy is going to put some muscle mass in the paint if he needs to for the Boston Celtics. And obviously, as you guys can see, wasn't the biggest scorer for the team for Iowa in his last year playing up until the Sweet 16, but you're really just kind of looking at just an effective plug-and-play type of guy. But here's the thing. A little bit more about Hason Ward that you guys should know is that he did play for the Kings, the Sacramento Kings in the Summer League, but he was a UDFA, undrafted free agent out of the draft this year. He blocked 22 shots in one game before he started his college careers at VCU and Iowa State. Producer Joey's like, what the hell, man? How do you even block? At what point does a team stop shooting? It was genuinely. I've never even heard of that. But he was a sixth man. He didn't start. He came off the bench for the Cyclones his senior year. But it also just makes me realize, I was talking to Marshall Green, the host of Knicks Now here, and I'm like, why would Brad Stevens do this? Why would you waive Dimitro right before the regular season starts and then just sign an E10 knowing that he's not going to play for the preseason? It's all about the G League. When you see a guy that is 6'9", 230 pounds, and I don't care if it was in Little League. You make 22 blocks on one person, you've got something that the Boston Celtics want. So primarily, he's probably never even going to try to make the 15-man roster here. I think the reason why they're signing him to an E10 is because they want the rights on him to play for this G League team, and they can use him in their system however they want. So ultimately, you're not looking at a guy you're ever going to see playing in primetime. You're looking at a guy that's going to help the second best G League team, the Maine Celtics, and if anything ever changes, Brad Stevens can utilize him in both Maine and Boston. So really, he's just kind of putting something in his back pocket, but it's still worth it to know. And I want you guys right now to give him some love. I don't care if they're playing for Maine, if they're playing for a Little League team in Boston, if they're playing for the actual NBA team. You give him some love when he enters our family. Go on ahead and spam your shams in the comment section below. Obviously, we hope the best for him. We hope we get to see him possibly in a two-way situation in the near future, but nonetheless, just want to keep you guys up to date. Now let's talk about a player that's really on the 15-man roster for the Boston Celtics that I just don't think we've given enough credit to. We're going to talk about Jordan Walsh and how he really might be an absolute game changer for the Celtics, whether it's on the court or whether it's a trade target they can use in the future. Walsh may have a pretty good situation on his hands. But before that, I want to test your hand at PrizePicks. This is the best daily fantasy sports app in the world for you to test your skills. If you guys want to play PrizePicks, well, it's super easy. All you have to do is pick between 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on a player's projected stats, and you can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct PrizePicks. And if you guys are looking for some daily fantasy sports in your state, good news. They have it in most states, actually over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. And look, I love games and apps and things that look out for me, right? And I love playing this app. I genuinely play it every day. Don't tell my boyfriend. But the thing that I love most about PrizePicks is the promotions. They keep me coming back in because the promotions are so great. I play every Tuesday and Friday because I know I'm going to get Taco Tuesday, which is a discount on a player's projected stats. And I play on Friday, which is $20 entry, win or your money back. That's why I always play. Plus, when you do end up playing pretty regularly, you're going to get these great deals all the time for no reason. Just like how they're giving us one free square for Anthony Edwards on opening night. If Anthony Edwards scores 1 point, you win. That's it. And they had this for Caleb Williams all throughout the month of September. Fortunately, that one is gone now, but now it's Ants time. So if you guys are looking for an app that's just super fun to play and you want to test your skills, all you have to do is download the app, use code CLNS, and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today, use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. What's in store for Jordan Walsh? And I never thought I was going to say this, to be honest. He got drafted 2 years ago, really saw him thrive in Maine, but really didn't do anything for the Boston Celtics until literal garbage time. I'm talking like 30 seconds left in the ball game. And then Summer League kind of stunk. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, all right, is it time? Is it time to finally let go of Jordan Walsh? No, because this man has a new identity, and it's called Preseason Jordan Walsh. For the love of God, 37% from downtown. That is Joe Mazzulla's love language. 46% from the field. This man was an offensive machine, but I know you see those 4 boards a game. He was still cleaning the glass. And when you have somebody like Joe Mazzulla pretty much saying he's carving out a role for him, Mazzulla's going to find a role for him. And this is something I've started to notice in my fandom of being a Boston Celtic, and then also just starting to cover them, is that when you have somebody like Jordan Walsh in the system, a system that is designed to help players succeed, he's going to succeed. And Jordan Walsh has already seen the improvement that he's had from this year to last year. Walsh said, it feels good to have that year under my belt. I know what to expect now with the season, with the team. I know how to play with the team, which is a very intense team to play with, I'm sure. I feel like that's the biggest part. I've just gotten a lot of more shooting reps in. He must have gone to the Derek White School of Shooting because this man is draining them from all 3 levels. But remember how I said this franchise is designed for success? Look at Pritchard. This was a catch and shoot guard only. Now he's one of the best two-way guards in the NBA, in my opinion. Sam Hauser has become one of the most lethal three-point shooters in the NBA. Not to mention, he clamped up Luka Doncic in the finals on defense. These 2 guys are success stories in this roster alone. And they got an extension last year, an extension this year. Can Walsh be that next project for Mazzulla and Brad Stevens to develop? And then, just because it's business, possibly use him as a trade asset in the future? Or they just hit the jackpot and he's going to be great for the Celtics. But it's just the preseason. And we know preseason P was invented last year, but now Walsh has that on his shoulder. Peyton Pritchard, he followed up. But when you look at the guaranteed 9 players on this roster that are going to be in the rotation, there's still that TBD on that 10th spot because there are several players right now who are fighting for some game time and primarily at the wing position. You guys know Springer, Lonnie Walker, who may or may not make the team, Drew Peterson, who's a two-way player, Baylor Shireman, who's now Jordan Walsh, but back when Jordan Walsh was a rookie. So Baylor Shireman is still fighting for this wing position as well, but I think Jordan Walsh has the upper hand over all of these guys, and he could make a really good assessment for being the 10th man off the bench. And when you're looking at the Boston Celtics starting 5 here, obviously having Al Horford, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Tatum, and Brown, it's going to be kind of confusing. Like, all right, where does Walsh fit in what kind of rotation? So I thought to myself, you got to keep 2 starters on the floor. That's what Joe Mazzulla always does. But I want scoring starters. So I've got Brown and White. But then I'm going to give Holiday that rest alongside Tatum, and I'm going to put Peyton Pritchard in with Derek White in the backcourt. Now you still have that defense, But now you're adding more offense just like you would if Tatum were in the game. Not the same points, obviously. But I think if you give Jordan Walsh the minutes down low, it's going to pay off with a certain type of roster and rotation. But I'm not Joe Mazzulla, and I don't, have Joe Mazzulla's salary, so I'm not going to go fully in depth of what the rotation is going to be. But I do think that you can place Jordan Walsh at the 4. If you surround him with the right amount of scoring and defense, Walsh can thrive. But we're going to have to wait and see, and thankfully, the season is almost here. So, how many minutes should Walsh get this season? Let me know in the comment section down below, and as always, if anything happens with the Boston Celtics, we've got you right here on Celtics Today by Chat Sports, so subscribe.